The doctor said that I should have an emergency C-section, and instead I walked straight out of the hospital. So I thought I'd share my birth story with you, how I brought my twins into the world. First of all, let me just say that my girls were 37 and 5 days. 37 weeks, 5 days, which means that they were not premature at all. I had gone much past that sort of danger zone, but I really wanted a natural vaginal birth. I believe that this is the best way to bring life into the world. I think it is best for both mom and baby, and it was my absolute dream. I even took hypnobirthing classes during COVID online because, babes, I cannot take pain. Pain is not my jam. And I thought, I'm going to breathe my way through it like a warrior, right? I had this vision. But basically, my twins, one of them was breech. So twin A was feet down. And I was at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. And honestly, throughout the entire pregnancy, they constantly tell you, risk. Twins are high risk. Everything is high risk. And although my twins were 2 placentas and 2 sacs, which is the safest kind of twins that you can have, they still were high risk, high risk, high risk. To the point where I was just like, okay, I got it, right? It wasn't necessarily what you wanted to hear as a first-time mother. I should also share that I always wanted to have twins. It was my absolute dream. On my dad's side, we have twins in every single generation. And even before I knew how babies were born, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have twins. Those twins gonna be me. Lo and behold, although I did change my mind somewhere in my late 20s, I thought, oh, I only have 2 hands. Maybe I shouldn't have twins. Thank goodness the universe didn't hear that part. The universe only heard the formative years, and I got twins. Anyway, I won't share how I found out that they were twins because then this video will be too long, so I'll stick to the birthing story. But the first baby was feet down, and that particular hospital does not do breech births, natural births. So I almost debated going to a university hospital in Oxford because they were happy to do that for me. But it was COVID times. We couldn't really move too much. And I was like, you know what? The hospital that I'm at was literally 6 minutes from where we lived, which is also relevant to the story. So I go in and I have this appointment to see if baby A, twin A, had turned. I was doing handstands. I was doing all kind of acrobatics to try and get this baby to move, even though deep down I wasn't convinced it was going to work. I put in a good effort, and lo and behold, I go to do the scan, and basically she hasn't turned over. She's still feet down. And so I understood that I was going to have a C-section. When they do any kind of test at the hospital, they always test your protein. So you give a little urine sample, and it turns out that I had developed preeclampsia. To be honest with you, I still don't fully understand what preeclampsia is, and I'm not sure they fully understand what preeclampsia is, but it is detected by a high level of protein in the urine. Another symptom is your feet swell. But to be honest with you, when I was pregnant, I had every symptom under the sun. I had gone to the hospital because I was vomiting 6 to 8 times a day at one point. At one point, I was on a drip because I was losing too much. I couldn't keep anything down. I had nosebleeds during service at my restaurants. Like literally, I was on the pass cooking once. I'm plating up somebody's meal and I'm seeing blood. Where is that coming from? Only to realize it was coming from my nose. I had migraines. I had everything, like every symptom. So when my feet were getting swollen towards the end, I just thought that it was another pregnancy symptom. I was not worried at all. Turns out that my feet getting swollen was because of this preeclampsia. And the only way to cure, I say cure, it's not really a cure, but the only way to get rid of preeclampsia is to basically take the placenta out, which means that you have to give birth. So I had developed preeclampsia, but I should tell you how we found out. So basically, the nurse downstairs that had done the scan, or the sonographer, I'm not sure, someone had done the scan and seen that the baby was still breech, and she had also tested the urine. She had then made some phone calls to another department to do further testing, and this department was a couple of floors above where we were, and she couldn't get through on the phone. So she's calling, she can't get through, and in the end, I'm not exaggerating, she wrote a note on a piece of paper. She gave me the note and she gave me directions to the department, and she said, give the receptionist this note so that they can do the next set of tests. So I'm from Jamaica, and nobody ever must tell me about first world and third world this, because in my opinion, in first world England, you should not be sending me with a handwritten note up into the next part of the building. But anyway, I get to that part of the building and the lady takes me in for further tests, and that's how they found out about the preeclampsia. I was hooked up to machines and whatever. So at this point, a doctor comes in her white coat, and she says, Miss Jackson, you've developed preeclampsia, so we're gonna have to have an emergency C-section. So I said, okay, cool. I'll wait for the call for you guys to let me know when I need to come in. And she was looking at me, eyebrows furrowed, and she was like, no, it's an emergency. So it's happening now. I said, no, it's not. And she was very confused. She said, what do you mean? No, it is happening now. It's an emergency, Miss Jackson. She goes through that, women have died from preeclampsia. It's really important that they take the babies out, and just really making sure that I understood the risk. And I said to her, doctor, I completely understand where you're coming from, but I have come in today because I was checking the position of twin A, right? At the time, by the way, guys, I did not know what I was having. So I didn't know if they were boys or girls. So I was just like, we were checking the position of twin A to see if I could have a vaginal birth. We have determined that twin A is still breech, and now I'm going home, and you will call me and let me know when I should come back. And she was really confused. She brought in another doctor to try and reinforce all of the risks. And I said, guys, you could bring the whole world in this room. We are not having this baby today, or babies rather. And they were deeply confused, surprised to say the least. And I'll explain to you why I did that. So remember, this is COVID times, and I appreciated that the hospitals were already understaffed. Now, going back to being told high risk, high risk, high risk every 10 seconds, what that made me appreciate is that the energy, like everybody's energy who would be coming into that room to do this emergency C-section, would be a little above what I need it to be, right? It wouldn't be at the normal level. There would be a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of rushing, because when you have twins, you need double the amount of people in the room. So you go from 5 to 6 people to like 10 to 12 people. And they would have to draw those people from somewhere because I was not scheduled to be in for that day. And I just did not want this kind of rushed, nervous, anxious, worried energy around me bringing life into the world. Also, I didn't have my hospital bag. I was there for a meeting, which is what I said to the lady. I said, I did not come here today to give birth. I did not have my hospital bag. My head was not in the game. I felt like I was hungry. I also didn't want to come in nervous. I'm a real big believer in mindset. And honestly, it did not even occur to me that I was not leaving that hospital with 2 babies inside my belly. So I had to sign a form that basically said that I was dismissing the advice of the doctor, that I could not take any legal action against them because I have gone against their professional advice. I didn't even hesitate. I was more than happy to sign the paper. So I signed the paper and I went home. I should also add that I lived 6 minutes from the hospital. If I had lived far away from the hospital, if I was feeling pain or discomfort, then my response may have been different. But I honestly felt well within myself. And I knew it was the best thing for me and my child. I'm not by any means telling anybody out there in the world to dismiss their doctor's advice. I'm just saying that I knew it was the best for us under those circumstances. Remember, it's COVID, it's short-staffed, I'm having twins, and I just did not want this mad energy. I didn't want hectic, irrational energy when I was having these babies. So I went home and she said, okay, that's fine. And the next day I was scheduled in the morning to have the babies. Now, because I was doing this C-section, you couldn't eat. I think it was for like 8 to 10 hours before, because it's a surgery, by the way, right? And I say that because at the time I didn't think of it as a surgery. I don't know what I was thinking a C-section was, but I wasn't thinking surgery. And let's just be clear, it's major surgery. So I go back in, and we're in this room. I've checked in. I have the like blue gown on. I have the little label on my wrist. We've checked in, and we see other mothers and their partners all sitting around ready to have their babies. And basically everybody leaves. Everybody's left and we're still there. And I'm a bit confused. My partner at the time, he goes and inquires what's going on, and I'm telling him, please stay calm, stay calm. And the reason why I was really probably a little bit more sensitive to people's energy was, the fact is Black women are more likely to die during childbirth in the UK. And I was very cognizant of that statistic, and I felt that it was my responsibility to manage everybody's energy so that we had the best possible scenario. So he went, he spoke to them, and it turns out that we had been forgotten. So whilst we had been checked in, After being checked in, they forgot that we were there. And that's why the next afternoon shift were arriving. You know, my partner at the time, he was very upset. I, again, was very calm. I was like, I am not messing with my energy today. These children are coming into the world with good vibes, even though I was very hungry because by now I've not eaten for too long. I was like, it's all good. This is all gonna go perfectly well. So they apologized profusely. We go into the room, the delivery room. The doctor was very excited that I did not know the gender. He was like, you don't know? Everybody knows. Nobody waits anymore. And I was like, when am I going to get this opportunity again? I love surprises. And I thought, you know, this is a huge surprise. So I had 4 names in my mind, 2 boys' names, 2 girls' names, just in case. And I will say that the doctor was super excited. His energy was very positive. He's this Spanish guy, very full of vibes. And he was like, oh my gosh, let's find out what these babies are. And I feel like not knowing made everybody in the room extra excited. And then we had our playlist. And I was like, boy, I'm bringing some Black people vibes to Chelsea and Westminster. I was laughing. I was dying of laughter. We had some Amapiano, a little dance hall, a little reggae. We were taking the people to party. And for me, that was really important because I wanted to feel good during this procedure. And also, I will say, retrospectively, I would not have changed a thing because the midwives, the nurses, they were jamming, they were coming to me, they're like, oh my gosh, this is music from my country. Everybody was just feeling the vibes. They were asking what the songs were. It was great. They wanted the whole playlist, babes. And so everybody was just positive, right? And the epidural, there was difficulty getting it in my back. And that took longer than usual. They were getting a little bit nervous, but when I tell you that I was just calm, like I was committed to the calm, that it didn't even bother me. They were moving my position, they were moving me back, they were moving me forward, they were like everywhere. I don't know why, because I feel like most times people can find veins and stuff quite easily, but they couldn't find it very easily. They got someone else to help, people were switching places. But again, honestly, it didn't bother me. I was just like, we are staying on track. And so when the first girl came out, and he was like, you having a girl? It was amazing. And then 3 minutes later, there was a second girl. And the point is, I just wanted to share this story with you to say that it's okay if it doesn't go perfect. It's okay if you have a birth plan and, you know, everything kind of goes out the window. It doesn't matter, because ultimately it is such a privilege to bring life into this world. And I think that sometimes it's really easy. It's so easy to take it for granted. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't look at my children and look at them in awe. I'm in awe of who they are. I'm in awe of who they're becoming. And for the first time, my personal persona and my private persona are aligned, because I know that I'm a great mother, and that is a gift that my children have given me. So it doesn't matter. Have a plan, by all means have a plan, but also just keep your mindset so that it's positive, irrespective of what happens along the way. And remember the blessing that it is to be a mother. My darling, you're welcome.